The parking lot lights turned everything the color of old snow. Elena stood outside the ER entrance. Mia pressed against her hip, both of them still for a few seconds longer than necessary. "Mama, my ear." "I know, baby." And the automatic doors stayed shut. They'd already walked through them twice. Once in, once out. Inside, a woman at the intake desk had been polite. She'd even leaned forward a little, like that made the answer softer. "Without insurance or upfront payment, we can't see her tonight. I'm sorry." $340. The number sat in Elena's head the way numbers did when they mattered. Not rounded, not approximate. She shifted Mia to her other hip. 6 years old, but light. Too light, maybe, though the pediatrician back when they had a pediatrician said she was fine. 50th percentile. Average. Mia tugged her own ear again, the left one. The motion small and repetitive. Elena walked toward the car, then stopped, not at the car, past it. Toward the pharmacy, at the edge of the lot, the one with the green cross still lit at 11 p.m. She counted the bills in her wallet before she went inside. Twice. $13, a 10 and 3 ones. Enough for the children's ibuprofen and maybe the acetaminophen if it was on sale. Inside the pharmacy, the lights were too bright. Mia squinted. Elena found the pain relief aisle and checked prices. The store brand was $7.49. The name brand was $11.99. She picked up the store brand, read the label she already knew by heart, put it in the basket. At the counter, the cashier scanned it without looking up. $12.37. Elena handed over the bills, got quarters back and a dime, slid them into her coat pocket without counting again. Outside, the cold made Mia press her face into Elena's neck. Elena opened the medicine box right there under the parking lot lights, pressed 2 tablets out of the foil, had Mia chew them. The girl's face twisted, grape-flavored but still bitter, but she didn't complain. "Good girl. It'll help soon." Across the lot, a man sat in a black Lexus with the engine running. He'd been there when they walked out of the ER, still there now. Elena noticed him the way you notice things when you're tired, and it's late, and nothing feels quite safe. He was looking at his phone, but then he wasn't. He was watching. She didn't look back. Just walked to her car, a 2006 Civic with a dent in the passenger door, and buckled Mia into the booster seat. "We're going home?" "Yeah, baby." "Not the doctor?" "Not tonight." Mia didn't ask why. She'd stopped asking why about a lot of things. Elena started the car. The heat took 30 seconds to kick in. She pulled out of the lot slowly, checked the rearview mirror once. The Lexus was still there. Inside the Lexus, David Harmon watched the Civic's taillights disappear onto the main road. He'd been visiting a colleague, gallbladder surgery, overnight observation, when he'd seen the woman and the kid at intake, not intentionally. He'd been walking past on his way out, heard the conversation through the gap in the sliding glass partition. No insurance. Can't pay up front, then watch them leave. No argument, no tears, just out. And now this. A parking lot pharmacy run? For what? Tylenol. While the kid was obviously in pain, tugging at her ear the whole time. He put his phone down, checked the time. 11:14 p.m. Poor decisions, he thought. That's what this was. Poor planning. You don't let it get to the point where you're standing in a hospital parking lot at 11 at night with a sick kid and no way to pay. He didn't say it out loud, didn't need to. It was just the shape the situation took in his head. Irresponsible. He put the car in reverse and drove home. The Civic's heat finally reached the back seat. Mia stopped shivering. Elena drove the speed limit, both hands on the wheel, eyes forward. The streets were empty enough that she could think. 8 more days. That's what the Medicaid application portal said. 45-day processing period. She'd applied on day 1, the day after the store cut her hours, 6 weeks ago. She was on day 37 now. 8 more days and they could go back, get the antibiotics, do it right, unless the infection spread, unless the fever spiked, unless something changed that made waiting impossible. She checked Mia in the rearview mirror, eyes closed, not asleep, just resting. The ibuprofen would take 20 minutes. Fever would drop, pain would ease, enough to sleep. Tomorrow she'd check again. Temperature, symptoms, progression, she knew what to watch for. When pneumonia was coming, when an ear infection was turning into something worse. She'd learned. That was the part she didn't say to anyone. How good she'd gotten at this kind of math. How many times she'd calculated what could wait and what couldn't. Which symptoms meant ER tonight and which meant wait and see. It wasn't neglect, it was survival. But she knew how it looked. David sat at a red light, the only car waiting. His dashboard screen showed 11:19 p.m. He thought about the woman's face. Not upset, not panicked, just tired. That's what bothered him, actually. The tiredness. Like she'd been through this before. Like it was routine. He didn't have kids. Didn't plan to. But he understood responsibility. You prepared. You planned. You didn't end up in an ER parking lot at midnight because you'd let things slide. The light turned green. He drove through. 2 days earlier, Elena's alarm went off at 5:47 a.m. 13 minutes before she needed to be up. She'd set it that way on purpose. The extra time let her wake up slowly, check her phone, see what the day looked like before Mia needed her. She opened the Medicaid portal first, still processing. Day 35, then her bank app, $847.32. Rent was due in 4 days, $1,150. She'd be short $302.68 unless the call center gave her overtime this week. She closed the app. Mia was still asleep in the other bedroom. One-bedroom apartment, technically, but Elena had put up a curtain and given Mia the actual bedroom. She slept on the pull-out couch. It was fine. Mia needed the door, the privacy, the feeling of a room that was hers. Elena got up, started coffee, checked the weather, 34 degrees. She laid out Mia's clothes, the purple hoodie, the jeans without the hole in the knee, then took a shower. 4 minutes. She'd timed it once and now it was automatic. By 6:30, Mia was up. By 6:50, they were out the door. Elena dropped Mia at the before-school program, free, but only if you qualified. She qualified. Had since August. Then she drove to the store. Harmon and Wells Home Goods. She'd worked there for 2 years, morning shift lead. That used to mean something. Now it just meant she opened 4 days a week and got an extra 75 cents an hour. It used to mean insurance, too. Until September. That's when corporate restructured. New policy. Benefits only for employees averaging 32 hours or more per week. They cut her to 28. Not officially, just scheduled that way, 4 weeks in a row. Then it became permanent. She'd asked the manager about it once. It's not personal, Elena. It's company-wide. She didn't ask again. She applied for Medicaid the same day, October 8th. 45-day processing window, which meant approval by November 22nd, probably. Unless there was an error, or missing paperwork, or a backlog. There was always something. At the store, she unlocked the doors at 7:58 a.m., turned on the lights, checked the register, started the opening checklist. By 8:15, 2 other employees showed up. By 9 a.m., the first customers trickled in. It was a quiet morning. Tuesdays usually were. Elena restocked the clearance end cap, helped a woman find drawer organizers, rang up an older man buying picture frames. At 10:30, she took her break. 15 minutes. She sat in the back room and ate a granola bar she'd brought from home, checked her phone. Mia's school hadn't called. That was good. The Medicaid portal still said processing. She opened her email, 3 messages, 2 spam, 1 from a collections agency. Outstanding balance. Account number 47839. She deleted it without opening it. The debt was real. $2,784 from last February when Mia had pneumonia, 4 days in the hospital. Elena had insurance then, barely, but the deductible was $3,500. She'd paid $716 up front. Put the rest on a payment plan, then lost the insurance, then missed 2 payments. Now it was in collections. They called once a week. She didn't answer. There was nothing to say. She didn't have $2,784. She didn't have $278. She had $847 in rent due and a kid who needed to eat. The debt sat there, on her credit report, in her email, in the back of her head. She finished the granola bar, went back to the floor. That afternoon, Mia's teacher called. "Hi, Ms. Vega. Just checking in." Mia said her ear hurts. She's okay, but wanted to let you know. Thanks. I'll keep an eye on it. Does she need to see the nurse? No, she's fine. Thanks for calling. Elena hung up, stood in the storage room for 5 seconds longer than necessary, then went back to work. At 3 p.m., she clocked out, picked Mia up from after school, drove home, made dinner, spaghetti, jarred sauce, frozen meatballs. Mia ate half, said her ear hurt. Elena gave her ibuprofen, checked her temperature. 90 on 1 UF, not quite a fever, not quite normal. Does it hurt a lot? Kind of. Scale of 1 to 10? Mia held up 4 fingers. Okay, we'll see how you feel tomorrow. That night, after Mia went to bed, Elena sat on the couch with her laptop, opened the Medicaid portal one more time. Still processing. She opened a tab for the county health clinic. They had a sliding scale, no insurance required, but the earliest appointment was 3 weeks out, and if Mia needed antibiotics, the prescription would cost, she checked GoodRx, $47 for amoxicillin, maybe $89 for the stronger kind. She could do $47. Probably, but not $340 for the ER. Not tonight. Not unless Mia's fever spiked over 102, not unless she stopped eating, not unless the symptoms crossed the line from uncomfortable to dangerous. Elena knew where that line was. She'd learned it the hard way. She closed the laptop, checked Mia one more time. Temperature, 99.4 degrees. Still breathing easy, no rash, no stiff neck, still safe to wait. She got ready for bed. Set her alarm for 5:47 a.m. Tomorrow would be day 36, 8 more days. The next morning, Mia's temperature was 98.9 degrees out. The ibuprofen had worked through the night. Elena gave her another dose with breakfast, sent her to school, went to work. At 9:15 a.m., a man walked into the store, tall, maybe early 40s. Expensive coat, the kind that looked casual but cost $300. He walked like he owned places. Not arrogant, just certain. He stopped at the front display, picked up a ceramic vase, put it down without really looking at it. The manager, Derek, came out from the back. "Morning, can I help you find anything?" "Just looking, thanks." But then Derek saw who it was. His posture changed. "Oh, Mr. Harmon. Didn't realize that was you." And the man, Harmon, smiled briefly. "Derek, good to see you." They shook hands. Derek's handshake lasted a half-second too long. "Elena," Derek called over. "Come here a sec." Elena walked over. She'd been folding dish towels at the clearance table. "This is David Harmon. He's with Harmon Development Group. They're doing that new housing project on Maple." Elena nodded. "Nice to meet you." David extended his hand. She shook it. His hand was warm, dry, firm, without being aggressive. "Elena's our morning shift lead," Derek said. "Knows this neighborhood better than anyone. Lived here, 3 years?" "4," Elena said. David looked at her then, not the quick scan people did. Actually looked. "You know the area pretty well?" "Yeah." "Good schools?" "Lincoln Elementary's decent. The middle school's okay if you're in the north boundary. High school's hit or miss." "Transit?" "Bus line runs every 20 minutes during the day, 30 at night, stops at the medical plaza and the shopping center." David nodded slowly. "That's helpful. We're trying to figure out what kind of tenants the units will attract. Young families? Older folks? Mix of both?" Elena glanced at Derek, then back at David. "Probably young families, if you price it right. There's not a lot of affordable 3-bedroom units around here." "That's what we're thinking." Derek jumped in. "Elena's great with community stuff. Super reliable. If you ever need someone who knows the neighborhood, I'll keep that in mind." David pulled a business card from his wallet, handed it to Derek, not Elena. "I'll be back in a few days to finalize some things. Good seeing you." "Absolutely. Anytime." David left. The door chimed behind him. Derek turned to Elena. "See? That's the kind of connections we need. He's doing big things around here." Elena nodded, went back to the dish towels, but something had shifted. Not big, just a small awareness. The way David had asked about the neighborhood, the way Derek had called her over, the phrase, "if you ever need someone who knows the neighborhood," and it wasn't a job offer, but it was the shape of one, the edge of a possibility. She didn't let herself think about it too much. That's how you got disappointed. You saw a door, you thought it might open, and then it didn't. But still, she folded the towels a little slower. Let the thought sit there for a minute. That evening, Mia's fever came back, 101.8 degrees. Elena checked the time, 6:47 p.m. 4 more days until Medicaid processed. She opened the medical symptom app she'd downloaded months ago, scrolled through the ear infection section. Fever over 102 degrees for more than 48 hours. Seek medical attention. Mia's fever was 101.8, that was under 102, and it hadn't been 48 hours yet. Elena gave her ibuprofen, then acetaminophen 2 hours later, staggered them the way the internet said to. Checked her temperature every hour. By 9 o'clock p.m., it dropped to 100.4 degrees. By 11 o'clock p.m., it was 99.8 degrees. Mia fell asleep. Elena stayed on the couch next to her, hand on her forehead, checking. Every 20 minutes, then every 30. At 1:00 a.m., the fever was 99.1 degrees. Elena exhaled, set an alarm for 3:00 a.m., closed her eyes. She didn't sleep, she calculated. If the fever spiked to 102, she'd take Mia to the ER, pay the $340, put it on the credit card she'd been avoiding using, the one with the $500 limit and the 26% interest rate. If the fever stayed under 102, she'd wait 4 more days, get the Medicaid approval, do it right. If the infection got worse, if Mia stopped eating, if she got lethargic, if the pain went from a 4 to an 8, she'd go. She had the lines memorized. She knew the symptoms. She knew the risks. This wasn't neglect. This was math. At 3:00 a.m., the alarm buzzed. Mia's temperature was 98.6 degrees. The fever had broken. Elena sat back against the couch, stared at the ceiling, felt nothing, not relief, not fear, just tired. She checked her phone, opened the Medicaid portal, still processing. Day 37. She closed the app, put the phone face down on the coffee table, pulled the blanket over Mia's shoulders. Tomorrow she'd send her to school. She couldn't miss work, not with rent due, not with the schedule already cut. Tomorrow the fever might come back, or it might not. Tomorrow David Harmon might come back to the store, or he might not. Tomorrow Medicaid might process, or it might not. She lay down on the other end of the couch, closed her eyes. The apartment was quiet. Outside, a car drove past. Headlights swept across the ceiling, then gone. Elena didn't sleep. She just waited. The fever broke at 5:53 a.m. Elena checked the thermometer twice, 99 still elevated, but dropping. Mia sat at the kitchen table eating cereal, slowly, but eating. How's your ear? Better. Scale of 1 to 10? Mia held up 2 fingers. Elena poured orange juice. Checked the time, 6:47 a.m. She had 13 minutes before they needed to leave. She'd slept 90 minutes total, maybe less. The couch had a spring that pressed into her shoulder blade no matter how she positioned herself. She'd given up around 4 a.m. and made coffee instead. Now she stood at the counter, holding the mug, watching Mia. The calculation had been right. Fever plateaued, started dropping, infection hadn't spread. They'd made it to day 38 without the ER, 7 more days. She drank the coffee. It was too hot. She drank it anyway. At the store, Derek had already opened. Elena clocked in at 8:02. He looked up from the register. You okay? You look exhausted. I'm fine. Mia doing better? Elena paused. She didn't remember telling Derek about Mia's ear. Then she did. 2 days ago, when the school called. He'd been standing right there. Yeah, she's better. Good. That's good. He went back to counting the drawer. Elena started the opening tasks. Checked the bathrooms. Refilled the shopping baskets. Straightened the seasonal display. At 10:15, David Harmon walked in. Different this time. He had rolled architectural plans under his arm, in a cardboard carrier with 4 coffee cups. Morning, Derek. He set the coffee on the counter. Brought some fuel. Figured you guys could use it. Derek's whole face changed. Oh man, you didn't have to do that. It's nothing, just being neighborly. One of the other employees, Josh, college kid, part-time, took a cup. Thanks, dude. David looked at Elena. There's one for you too, if you want it. Thanks. She took the cup. It was still hot. She held it with both hands. David unrolled the plans on the counter. I wanted to run through the final layout with you, Derek. Make sure we're thinking about this right. They talked about square footage and parking ratios. Elena restocked the clearance end cap nearby, close enough to hear, but not part of the conversation. At one point, David glanced over. You doing okay? You look tired. Elena looked up. Just a long week. Yeah, I hear that. Asius said, and he went back to the plans. 15 minutes later, an older woman came in. Elena recognized her. Mrs. Pacheco, regular customer, bought candles every month. Morning, Mrs. Pacheco. Oh, good morning, dear. She picked up a lavender candle, smelled it, put it back, then she stopped. Looked at Elena more carefully. Wait, weren't you at the hospital the other night with your little girl? Elena's hands stilled on the shelf. Yeah. I thought that was you. I was visiting my sister. Saw you in the parking lot. Mrs. Pacheco's voice was kind, too kind. I hope she's feeling better. She's fine, thank you. It must be hard, managing on your own. Elena restocked another box, didn't look up. We're okay. Mrs. Pacheco touched her arm briefly. You're doing great, sweetie. Really. She moved on to the kitchen section. Elena stood there, didn't move for 3 seconds, then went back to stocking. At the counter, David had stopped looking at the plans. He was looking at her. She felt it before she saw it, that shift, the reassessment. He didn't say anything, just rolled up the plans, thanked Derek, left. Elena finished the end cap, took the empty boxes to the back, came back to the floor. Derek was on the phone. Josh was helping a customer. The store was quiet. She walked to the counter, wiped it down with the cleaning spray and a paper towel. The counter was already clean. She wiped it anyway, then stopped, put the spray bottle back under the register, stood there for 5 seconds. The coffee David had brought sat on the break room table. She hadn't touched it after the first sip. It was probably cold now. She didn't go back to check. At 3 p.m., she clocked out, picked up Mia, drove home, made dinner. That night, after Mia went to bed, Elena sat on the couch with her phone. Checked the Medicaid portal. Day 38, still processing. She put the phone down. Outside, a car passed. Headlights swept the wall. Elena closed her eyes. The coffee had been a nice gesture. That's all it was. The call came at 2:47 p.m. Derek's phone rang. He stepped into the back room to answer it. Elena was restocking picture frames in aisle 3. She didn't think anything of it, until Derek came back out 20 minutes later. His face was different. Not bad, just careful. He didn't say anything to her. At 4, he left early. Got a thing. You good to close? Yeah. Thanks. He was gone by 4:05. Elena locked up at 6:00. Drove to her second job, the call center, and worked until 10 p.m. Answered complaints about cable bills. Reset passwords, transferred people to supervisors. At 9:47, her supervisor told her they were cutting her hours next week. Slow season, nothing personal. Elena said okay. She drove home, checked on Mia, the babysitter, Mrs. Lynn from upstairs. $15 cash. Said Mia had been good. No fever, ate her dinner, did her homework. Elena paid her, locked the door, sat on the couch, opened the Medicaid portal, day 40. Still processing. 2 days later, David Harmon came back. Elena saw him through the window before he came in. He was walking with Josh, not Derek. Josh. They were laughing about something. The door chimed. David had a folder under his arm. Josh was talking about his business classes at the community college. David was nodding, asking questions. They walked to the counter. Derek came out from the back. Mr. Harmon, good to see you. You too. Just finalizing some paperwork. Wanted to talk about the liaison position. Elena was folding towels at the clearance table. 10 feet away, close enough to hear everything. David opened the folder. We're looking to start next month. Salary, benefits, standard 9 to 5. Mostly community outreach, tenant relations, that kind of thing. Josh's whole face lit up. That sounds amazing. You interested? Absolutely. Derek jumped in. Josh is great. Super personable. He's got the degree too, business administration. Perfect. David pulled out a paper. Here's the job description. Take a look. Let me know if you have questions. Josh took the paper. Started reading. Elena folded a towel, unfolded it, folded it again. The liaison position. The one Derek had almost mentioned to her. The one that had felt like a door opening. It was never her door. She folded another towel. David glanced over, made eye contact for half a second, then looked away. She understood. The hospital parking lot, Mrs. Pacheco's comment, the exhaustion, the single mom thing, the instability. He'd decided. Not in a meeting, not officially, just decided. Moved on. Picked someone else. Someone without complications. Josh was still reading. This is really cool. I'd love to do this. Great. We'll set up a formal interview next week, but I think you'd be a good fit. Derek clapped Josh on the shoulder. That's fantastic, man. Congratulations. Josh grinned. Thanks. Elena picked up the stack of towels, walked to the back room, put them on the shelf, stood there. The storage room smelled like cardboard and cleaning solution. The fluorescent light buzzed. She stood there for 11 seconds, then went back to the floor. On day 43, the Medicaid approval came through. Elena got the email at 6:32 a.m. She sat on the edge of the couch and read it twice. Your application has been approved. Coverage begins immediately. She didn't cry, didn't smile, just sat there. Then she called the clinic. Got an appointment for that afternoon. Took Mia in at 3:15. The doctor looked in Mia's ear. Yep, infection. Pretty standard. How long has she had symptoms? About a week. You did the right thing bringing her in. The doctor wrote a prescription. Amoxicillin, 10 days. Elena picked it up at the pharmacy. There were a copay with Medicaid. She gave Mia the first dose in the car. This'll make it better? Yeah, baby. This'll make it better. They drove home. Elena made dinner. Mia did her homework. Everything was normal. Except it wasn't. Elena kept thinking about the timing. If she'd waited one more day before going to the hospital that night, if she'd gone on day 38, instead of day 37, the Medicaid would have been active. She could have walked into the ER with a valid insurance card. No one would have turned them away. No one would have seen her counting change in the parking lot. David Harmon wouldn't have seen her at all. She wouldn't have been visible at her most vulnerable. The math had been right. The timing had been fatal. The next day at work, Derek was friendlier than usual. Hey, how's Mia doing? Good. She's on antibiotics now. That's great. Glad you got it figured out. Elena nodded. He didn't mention the liaison position. She didn't ask. At 11 o'clock a.m., David came in one last time. He had final documents for Derek to sign. Building permits, zoning approvals, things Elena didn't understand and wasn't part of. She was rearranging the seasonal display. Halloween was over. Thanksgiving was coming. She picked up a ceramic pumpkin, put it in the clearance bin. David and Derek shook hands at the counter. Appreciate all your help, Derek. Anytime. And congrats on getting the project approved. Thanks. Josh starts on the 15th, right? Yep. He's excited. Good. We need someone who knows the area. Elena picked up another pumpkin. Put it in the bin. David walked past her on his way out. Didn't say anything. The door chimed. He was gone. Elena stood there, holding a ceramic turkey. She put it on the display shelf, straightened it, stepped back. It was crooked. She straightened it again. It was still crooked. She left it. Went to the break room, sat down, pulled out a chair, pushed it back in, sat on a different chair. Her lunch break was 12 minutes. She sat there for all of them. When she came back, Derek was helping a customer. Josh was on his phone, grinning about something. Elena clocked out at 3:00 p.m., picked up Mia, drove home, made dinner. Everything was fine. Mia's ear was healing. The Medicaid was active. Rent was paid. Barely, but paid. Everything was fine. 1 week after Josh started talking about his new job, David Harmon came back. Elena was working the closing shift. Solo. Derek had gone home at 4. It was just her in the empty store and the smell of floor cleaner from the morning. 5:47 p.m. 13 minutes until close. The door chimed. David walked in with a leather portfolio under his arm. He looked around, not for products, just looking, seeing if anyone else was there. Just Elena. She was at the register counting the drawer for the night. She didn't look up right away. Finished the stack of fives. 20, 40, 60, 80. Hey, his voice was careful. Hope I'm not keeping you. We're open until 6. She moved to the ones. He walked closer, put the portfolio on the counter. I'm just dropping off some final paperwork for Derek. Last signatures for the zoning stuff. He left already. Oh, David shifted his weight. I can come back tomorrow. Up to you. Silence. Elena counted. 12, 13, 14. David cleared his throat. Actually, I wanted to... He stopped. Started again. Your daughter. She doing better? Elena looked up then. Met his eyes for half a second. She's fine. Good. That's good. She went back to counting. 15, 16. That night, at the hospital, he wasn't looking at her now. Looking at the counter, at his hands. I didn't mean to. I shouldn't have. He stopped. 4 seconds of silence. Elena's hands stilled on the bills. She could speak now, could explain, could say, Medicaid was processing. I was waiting. The fever broke. I did the math right. It wasn't neglect. She could prove it, make him understand. The words were right there. She watched him instead. He was uncomfortable, shifting his weight again. Looking for the exit the conversation didn't have yet. Something in her chest tightened, not pain, something else. He'd judged her, decided she wasn't worth the risk, given the job to someone easier, someone without complications. And now he was standing here trying to apologize without actually apologizing, trying to feel better about himself. She watched him try to find the next words, and she felt it. The small, sharp pleasure of watching him squirm, not relief, not vindication, something meaner. If I explain, they'll think I'm defending myself. The thought came clean and cold. Let him sit with it. She put the stack of bills down, looked at him directly. You saw what you wanted to see, she said. Her voice wasn't loud, wasn't shaking, just cold. That's on you, David blinked. No, that's not... She turned away, picked up the drawer, walked it to the back office. Behind her, she heard him still standing there, heard him take a breath like he was going to say something else. She didn't stop. In the office, she put the drawer in the safe, locked it, stood there for 6 seconds. Her hands were shaking, not from fear, from something else. Something that felt like power but tasted wrong. She'd just done something, not defended herself, not explained. Something uglier. She'd wanted him to feel bad, had chosen it, on purpose, and it had felt good. For about 4 seconds, it had felt good. Now it felt like nothing. She walked back to the floor. David was still there, by the door now. Look, I'm sorry if... You should go. We're closing. He opened his mouth, closed it, nodded once. Yeah, okay. He left. The door chimed. Then silence. Elena stood at the counter, didn't move. She'd just burned something. She didn't know what exactly. But something was gone now. Some bridge she might have needed later. Some possibility of... What? Understanding? Help? She didn't feel regret. She felt nothing, just empty. She finished closing the register, turned off the lights in the back, checked the bathrooms. At 6:04, Derek came back. She heard his car in the lot before she saw him. He walked in looking confused. Hey, I just passed David in the parking lot. He looked upset. Did something happen? Elena wiped down the counter. He dropped off paperwork. He say anything? Not really. Derek watched her. He seemed, I don't know, off. Elena folded the cleaning rag, put it under the sink. I don't know what to tell you. Did he ask about the development stuff? No. Derek stood there, waiting for more. Elena didn't give it to him. Okay, he said finally. Well, if he calls or anything, just let me know. Sure. Derek left again. The door chimed. Elena locked it behind him, turned the sign to closed. Then she went back to the register, recounted the drawer. She'd already counted it. It was fine. She counted it again anyway. 20, 40, 60. Her hands were still shaking, just slightly. She put the bills in stacks, straightened them, stacked them again. What had she just done? Not stood up for herself, not set a boundary. She'd made someone feel bad because it was the only thing she could make happen. That's what it was. The only power she had, making him sit with his guilt. And she'd used it, not because it would help anything, not because it would change anything, because it felt like something. She finished counting, locked everything up, grabbed her coat, walked to the door, stopped. Checked the lock. It was locked. She checked it again anyway, then left. In the car, she sat for a minute before starting the engine. Her phone buzzed. Text from Mrs. Lynn. Mia's asleep. All good here. Elena texted back. Thanks. Home in 20. She started the car. Pulled out of the lot. The street was empty. The sky was that winter kind of dark that came too early. She drove the speed limit, both hands on the wheel. What would she have said if she'd explained? I was waiting for Medicaid. The fever broke. I timed it right. I'm not irresponsible. I'm competent. I did everything correctly. And he would have said, what? Oh, I'm so sorry. Let me give you the job anyway. Let me fix this. No. He would have felt better. That's all. He would have walked away thinking, I'm glad we cleared that up. And she would have walked away having performed one more time for someone who'd already decided. She'd stopped performing. That's what this was. She'd stopped trying to be seen the right way. And something about that felt not good exactly, but final, like closing a door. She drove past the grocery store, the gas station, the elementary school, pulled into her apartment complex at 6:34 p.m., parked, sat there. Mia was upstairs, healthy, Medicaid covered, safe, rent was paid, not late yet, everything was fine. Elena got out of the car, locked it, walked upstairs. Mrs. Lynn met her at the door. She went down around 6, no fever, ate all her dinner. Thanks. Elena handed her $15. Mrs. Lynn left. Elena locked the door. Checked on Mia. She was asleep, breathing steady, hair stuck to her forehead. Elena went to the couch, sat down, didn't turn on the TV, just sat there. Outside, a car alarm went off. Stopped after 30 seconds. Her phone was still in her hand. She opened the Medicaid portal. Day 45. Active coverage. No issues. She closed the app, put the phone on the coffee table. Face down. Tomorrow she'd work the morning shift. Pick up Mia, make dinner, check homework. Tomorrow David Harmon would probably call Derek. Or not. It didn't matter. Tomorrow, Josh would keep preparing for his new job, the one with benefits and regular hours in a future. Tomorrow, everything would be exactly the same. Except something had changed. Not in the world. In her. She'd chosen something today. Not survival, not dignity, something smaller and meaner. And she couldn't undo it. Elena closed her eyes. The apartment was quiet. She didn't move for a long time. 2 weeks later, Derek called Elena into the office. She'd been restocking the seasonal aisle. Thanksgiving was 2 days away. The store was slow. Tuesday afternoon, 2:17 p.m. Got a sec? Yeah. She followed him to the back. He closed the door. Didn't sit. Neither did she. So David Harmon called me last week. Elena said nothing. He seemed, I don't know, uncomfortable. Said you guys had a weird interaction. Did he? Yeah. Wouldn't really say what happened, just said it was awkward. Derek scratched his neck. Look, I'm not trying to get in the middle of anything, but he's an important contact for the store, for the community. Elena waited. I guess I'm just asking, is everything okay between you two? I don't have a relationship with him. Right, yeah. I just meant. Derek stopped, started over. He asked about you, about your reliability, whether you're, I don't know, stable. There it was. What did you tell him? I said you're great, reliable, never miss shifts. Derek's voice got quieter, but he seemed like he'd already made up his mind about something. Elena looked at the wall, at the schedule taped there. Her name in blue marker, 28 hours next week. Is there anything I should know? Derek asked. No. Okay. He opened the door. Just wanted to check in. She went back to the floor. At 3:00, Maria came in. Maria was 19. Worked part-time while taking classes at the community college. She'd started 3 months ago. Always asked Elena questions, always friendly. Too friendly, maybe, but genuine. She walked over to the seasonal aisle. Hey, you okay? You seem stressed. I'm fine. If you need help with anything. I said, I'm fine. Maria stopped, blinked. Oh, okay, sorry. She walked away. Elena kept stocking, picked up a ceramic cornucopia, put it on the shelf, straightened it. 10 minutes later, Maria came back, carefully. Hey, I didn't mean to bother you earlier. I was just... Don't worry about it. Elena didn't look at her. I just wanted to make sure... Maria. Elena turned then. Her voice came out sharper than she meant it to. I'm fine. You don't need to check on me. Maria's face changed, hurt visible. I was just trying to help. I don't need help. Maria stepped back, nodded once. Okay. She left. Elena watched her go, saw the way her shoulders pulled in, the way she didn't look back. She should apologize. The thought came clear and immediate. She should walk over there and say sorry, say she's tired. Say it's not Maria's fault. She didn't move. Apologizing felt like another performance. Another attempt to manage how someone saw her. Another thing she had to do to make other people comfortable. She was tired of making people comfortable. She went back to stalking. That evening, Maria asked Derek to switch her schedule. "I'd rather work mornings, if that's okay." Derek agreed. Elena heard about it the next day. Didn't ask why. She knew why. At home, Mia noticed. They were eating dinner. Spaghetti again. Mia had eaten half. "You're mad all the time now." Elena looked up. "I'm not mad, baby. You feel mad. I'm just tired." Mia pushed a meatball around her plate. "You said that yesterday." "Because it's true." Mia didn't respond, just ate quietly. After dinner, she did her homework at the kitchen table. Elena washed dishes. The apartment was quiet except for the water running and Mia's pencil on paper. "Mom?" "Yeah? Are we okay?" Elena turned off the water, dried her hands. "Of course we're okay." "Why?" Mia shrugged, didn't look up from her math worksheet. "Just asking." Elena sat down across from her. "We're fine, I promise." Mia nodded, went back to her homework. But she didn't ask any more questions that night. She used to ask a lot of questions. The next week, Elena applied for 3 jobs. 2 didn't call back. 1 scheduled an interview. Administrative assistant at a medical billing company. $15.50 an hour, full-time. Benefits after 90 days. She went to the interview on Thursday, wore her good shirt, answered the questions. She knew the answers. She'd done this before. The interviewer, middle-aged woman, tired eyes, asked standard things. Experience, availability, strengths. Then, "How would you describe your working style?" Elena paused. "I'm reliable, detail-oriented. I work well independently." "What about collaboration, working with a team?" "I'm fine with that." The woman wrote something down. "You seem guarded. Is everything okay?" Elena's hands tightened in her lap. "I'm fine. It's just, you seem tense. We're looking for someone who can handle high-stress situations with a positive attitude." "I can handle stress." "I'm sure you can, but culture fit is important here. We need someone who's a team player, someone approachable." Elena said nothing. The woman smiled. Polite. Distant. "We'll be in touch." They never called back. At the store, the other employees started keeping distance. Not hostile, just careful, like she was something breakable. Or sharp. She worked her shifts. Clocked in, clocked out. Helped customers when needed. Didn't chat in the break room. Derek stopped asking if she was okay. That was fine. Everything was fine. At home, Mia stopped asking questions too. She did her homework, ate dinner, went to bed. But she watched Elena differently now, like she was trying to figure something out. One night, Mia asked, "Do you still like me?" Elena put down the dish she was washing. "Of course I do." "Why would you ask that?" "You don't smile the same anymore." Elena knelt down, pulled Mia into a hug. "I love you so much. You know that, right?" Mia nodded against her shoulder. "Okay." But when Elena pulled back, Mia's face was careful, watchful. She couldn't protect Mia from what she was becoming. That's what hurt most, not the job she didn't get. Not Maria transferring shifts, not Derek's careful distance. The fact that her daughter could see it, could feel the anger Elena said wasn't there. Elena went back to the dishes. Mia went to her room. The apartment was quiet. Outside, someone's car alarm went off, stopped after 15 seconds. Elena finished the dishes, wiped down the counter. It was already clean. She wiped it again anyway. 1 month after the closing shift, Derek ran into David Harmon at a city council meeting. Elena didn't know about it until the next day. Derek came in at 9. She was already there, restocking the clearance table. He walked over. "Hey, weird thing. I saw David last night." Elena kept folding towels. "We got to talking. He asked about you again." She looked up. "Why?" "I don't know. I think he felt bad about something." Derek lowered his voice. "He asked about your daughter. If she was okay. If you'd gotten insurance figured out." Elena put the towel down. "What did you tell him?" "I said I didn't really know the details. But then I remembered you mentioning Medicaid came through. So I told him that you'd been waiting for approval." Derek paused. He got this look on his face, like he'd just figured something out. Elena said nothing. "He asked how long the processing took. I said I didn't know, but you'd mentioned it was like 45 days or something." He went quiet after that. Derek waited, like he expected her to respond. She didn't. "Anyway," Derek said, "I think he realized you knew what you were doing, with the waiting and everything, that it wasn't, I don't know, what he thought it was." Elena picked up another towel, started folding. "Did he say anything else?" Not really. Just seemed uncomfortable. Like, he wanted to say something but didn't. Okay. Derek stood there for another few seconds, then left. Elena finished folding, moved the stack to the shelf. So David knew now. Knew her choice had been calculated, not neglectful. Knew she'd timed it right, knew he'd judged her wrong. It didn't change anything. The job was Josh's. The moment was gone. The door was closed. His realization was just him feeling better about himself. Or worse. She didn't know, didn't care. She went back to work. That afternoon, Elena got an email. Application status, night shift warehouse associate. She opened it. Thank you for your interest. After careful consideration, we have decided to move forward with other candidates. She closed her phone. That was the third rejection this month. The warehouse job would have been $16.75 an hour. Night shift, 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. Hard on her body, but better pay. Benefits after 60 days. She'd applied 2 weeks ago, filled out the background check authorization, waited. Now this. She didn't know why they rejected her. The email didn't say, but she could guess. Medical debt and collections, credit score in the 500s, references that were probably fine, but not enthusiastic. Or maybe they just found someone better. It didn't matter. She was still at the store, still 28 hours, still 2 part-time jobs, still counting every dollar. The next week, rent was late, not by much, just 3 days, but the landlord left a notice on her door. Bright yellow paper, late payment notice. Please remit payment plus $50 late fee within 5 days to avoid further action. Elena stood in the hallway holding the paper. $50. She'd paid $1,000 of the $150 rent. Had put the other $150 toward Mia's winter coat. The old one didn't fit anymore. She could pay the remaining $150 now. But not the late fee. Not yet. She went inside. Put the notice on the counter. Mia was doing homework at the table. What's that? Just a paper from the landlord. Are we going to move again? Elena's chest tightened. No, baby, we're fine. Mia looked at her, 6 years old enough to know when adults were lying. You always say that now. Elena sat down across from her. I know things have been tight, but we're okay. I promise. Mia went back to her math worksheet, didn't say anything, but she'd stopped believing it. Elena could see it in her face. The way she didn't push, didn't ask follow-up questions. She'd learned. That night, after Mia went to bed, Elena sat on the couch with her laptop, opened her bank account, $127.43, opened her calendar. Call center paycheck came Friday, $340 after taxes. Retail paycheck came the following Tuesday, $420. She could pay the remaining rent plus late fee by Friday, but then she'd have $70 left for groceries. She closed the laptop, pulled up the Medicaid portal. Still active, good for another 60 days, then she'd have to reapply. 60 days. Another processing window, another wait. She put the laptop aside, checked the lock on the door. It was locked. Checked it again anyway, then sat back down. The apartment was quiet. The refrigerator hummed. The upstairs neighbor's footsteps creaked across the ceiling. Somewhere in the city, David Harmon was probably sitting in his house, maybe thinking about her, maybe feeling guilty, maybe not thinking about her at all. It didn't matter. His realization changed nothing. He'd learned something. She was still here, still calculating, still 2 months away from losing everything or staying afloat. She didn't know which yet. Elena closed her eyes. Tomorrow she'd work, pick up Mia, make dinner, check homework. Tomorrow would be exactly like today, and the day after that, and the day after that. 3 months later, Elena still worked at the store. 28 hours, call center had cut her to 15. She'd applied for 9 other jobs. Nothing. Rent was 2 months behind now. The landlord had sent a second notice. She had 30 days. Mia was healthy. Medicaid was active. Reapplication processing again, day 12. But Mia asked fewer questions now. Learned not to ask for things. Watched her mother with careful eyes. One afternoon, Elena saw David across a parking lot. Different store, different context. He didn't see her. She felt nothing. Not anger, not vindication, just absence. Inside, a new employee asked the manager about Elena. She's hard to read, Elena overheard. Thought, maybe I was stupid to think they would understand. She didn't say it aloud. She clocked out, picked up Mia, drove home. What remained? Her daughter, her calculations, her silence. Nothing else.